It is Tuesday, the 30th of May, and I'm going on my third shot at this. Brain's not working real fast today. I don't know. I mean, I got my rest, rested over the weekend, got a crap ton done that I need to around this place. I've been traveling so much, having the 2 days off, and then Sunday to spend time with the family, grilling, hanging out. Definitely needed. Could probably go for another week of that, but here's what it is. We're here to get it done, here to knock it out into the month, really push it out hard. We're going to start here talking about this. What am I talking about? Not so much. Well, let's talk about a couple of things here. Media section. Guys, I've got over 150 podcasts. I don't know if they're all on here, but I've been on over 150 of them. Video library gets into these videos here. So if for some reason you're looking for them, go right here. But this is the main thing. We need to get into this again. We haven't talked about it in a little bit. We did talk about it a little last week with respect to going into the movie that's coming out, which is I kept thinking the End of Slavery tour, which is the tour that I was on with Tim and Yumi Park. But The Sound of Freedom, movie by Alejandro Monteverdi. You definitely got to check this thing out. It's a story of Tim Ballard, played by Jim Caviezel. And we need to continue to keep on this. Now, Anne, Salil, Christian, Corey, Kevin, Jade, I mean, all you guys, those who are anonymous in here, thank you. We appreciate you guys punch in here, continuing this push. I haven't pushed the way I should have with respect to this. I need to be better about doing this. I've said that more than once. So my apologies for not bringing it up. But I want to remind you guys about this and what we need to be focusing on, because ultimately we have great lives. It may suck right now. Interest rates are going up. It may suck that we're not finding the kind of deals we found at one point, but you're still finding deals, right? So that's the other part that we do, is to help you understand what the deals are. It's not about the rates. If the rates in the market will make the deals for you, then you know how to make deals. We'll help you understand what makes deals. So let's talk about what we're getting out there in the market today. So we had Friday's information, where we're going. Of course, the market taking a beating, but it's come back a little bit, right? We had things get a little bit better because we have some other information that's come out. First off being, of course, the debt ceiling thing. That has been agreement made with between the Speaker of the House and the current, whatever you want to call that person sitting in the Oval Office, the one we have right now. They supposedly work something out. I can't imagine the amount of days that we're talking about. There was actual coherent conversation going on about this. So I would love to have been a fly on the wall to understand that conversation, to reach this particular point, or whatever the negotiations are. I haven't analyzed it to see what it is. I can't imagine it's the greatest thing for all of us, but whatever it is, the market likes it. It's responding positively. We also have housing information with respect to the Case-Shiller index and the FHFA index, or showing out information with respect to what's been going on in the housing market. Now, if you look at the Case-Shiller index, it breaks it down that we're going to see potentially a 5 to 6% appreciation, the way it's averaging out for 2023. If we go back to 2022, we're looking at a 6% appreciation. So slightly off of that, but not by much. It's far from a bubble that people are claiming that we're going to see. The other thing you go into is the FHFA report, the Federal Housing Finance Agency report, and it shows a much stronger number when it comes to our houses and what the value of those are doing, what their pricing is doing. But they're only looking at conventional loans, how much the loans are going up year over year. Now, when you consider the FHFA as the ones who oversee Fannie and Freddie, they're the ones that are kicking up all our costs, right? We've talked about that. You see in the news where they're talking about the subsidization being done for, people that have the higher credit scores and more money down versus those that have lower credit scores and less money down. They're right, but it's also not as dramatic as one would believe from what they're seeing in the news. Now, with Case-Shiller looking at just that window, it would lead analysts to believe that they may be seeing that the property value increases that we're going to show, the fact that there is higher growth in that index. It's because of more in the more affordable type housing. Now, when you're getting into the other that's being looked at by Case-Shiller, you're looking at more of, you can see a lot more jumbos in there. You see some like non-QM, which would be like our Alt A back in the 2000s, or maybe not quite subprime, but somewhere in that range, but could be close to subprime. As a result of that, you got a big, wider look at the entire market. So their drop versus the other going higher up, and it's not really a drop, it's still pretty strong. We would see that probably because the more affordable housing, or the stuff that fits within the conforming loan limits, there's a lot more people that are buying. So it's a lot bigger market. So that would be something that we'd be considering as to why we might see a difference in those particular reports. But end result is housing is still very, very strong. So just know that. Very, very, very strong. So let's take here, look at the charts, which we always go to. Friday, it was quite the beating. So this is probably going to be our line. It ended up being our floor, bounced off of that. Yesterday, it stayed basically where it was, where it closed on Friday. So they didn't really move it. But today we had a gap up and we're running up. Now, the market tends to want to close gaps. I would imagine there's going to be some sort of movement here to here. So that kind of movement could be negative on a price day, but we also want to watch this till we hit this particular point up here. That where I'm seeing we've hit it several times. We had hit, and then a few days ago, and then middle of last week. So I think we're might get here, and that might be our next ceiling resistance. We can bounce through. If we get there, that's a lock day. But I'm still not convinced that we're not going to be continuing to lock. Now, if you look here, 200-day moving average, it has, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit more, 200-day moving average right here, broken through, and it is somewhere in the range, let me see here, 6 basis points below that line that we said was the price point set from back in 2008. So it's going to continue to trend downward, and we're going to see us bouncing off of that as we go. We might touch this line a few times. I don't know that we can get through it convincingly. It might work our way back down. Interest rates continuing to climb up slowly. That is my anticipation for the market. That's my anticipation for rates. If you're freaked out about rates, if rates is what you're all about, you need to call me and talk to me. Let's talk about what really makes a deal instead of getting so worked up over what's going on in the interest rates. There's a lot of people that can be eating out of your dog dish if you're sitting there walking around in circles screaming about rates instead of focusing. Let us help you focus. And if you're a person selling housing, that's all you can talk about is interest rates. Let's get on the phone to get you something new to discuss, because rates that's an old conversation, guys. Time to come something better for people, bring some confidence back in the market. And that's what we're here for. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bring it back around on Friday.